All right, welcome back, Happy Crumpers. I'm pretty pumped up about this one. This is Creations of Bile. Right off the bat, there are a ton of cool combinations that are going to work pretty damn well in the game. This is a awesome Grotmus detachment. I think GW knocked it out of the park with this one. It's not busted, it's not broken, but it's going to allow for a very different style of play that's going to be super freaking interesting. Fabius Bile is back, baby. Now, Fabius Bile has been seeing some decent competitive play as of late, running him with the 10-man blob of, Chosen. But now it gets a little more interesting. So let's read up on the creations of Bile. The detachment rule will be experimental augmentations. At the start of the battle, select which augmentations are active for Heretic Astartes infantry models, excluding damned. Now, that's really important because you're not going to be able to get these buffs on, say, a cursed cultist with the Dark Commune. That would have been batshit, but that doesn't exist because it is excluding the damned. To do so, we either get to select one of these buffs, or you can roll 2 dice to get 2 buffs, but they're random. And if you roll the same dice, you're out of luck. Now, however, if you include Fabius Bile as your warlord, which you 100% always will, you get to re-roll one or both of those dice. So basically, you get 2 randoms, but you have control because you get to re-roll them. And when you roll doubles, there is no stacking effect, all right? So the abilities are, which you get to choose one or randomly select 2, semi-randomly. The first one is going to be Cholinergic Accelerants, which is add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons by infantry models. This rocks. Tons of your characters. We're talking Legionnaires, Chosen, Havocs, Possessed. Oh, yeah, Possessed. That's actually a big one. We're talking freaking Plague Marines, Rupert Marines, Berserkers. Berserkers is a big one. This is there's a lot of units that get to benefit from this, and you can really come up with some super interesting stuff here. All right, the next one will be Hyper Adrenal Infusion. Add 2 to the move characteristic of this model. If all of your infantry just right off the bat get +2 to move, that's nice. Like, that's freaking usable. We have Paraneural Reactions, which will be improve the weapon skill of all melee weapons by 1. Solid buff. I'm not sure that's what you'll always want to be taking, but honestly, dude, it doesn't hurt to be hitting on 2s. Then we have Supracutaneous Chitination, or Chitination. This is going to be improve the toughness characteristic of models by 1. All of your infantry going up by 1 toughness. This is actually really big. Suddenly your possessed go to T7, not T6. Oof, that matters. Suddenly your chosen squad going up to T5, and the one that Fabius is leading goes up to T6. That's actually a pretty cool combination. So there's some really fascinating things that you can do with this. Then we have the Macrotensile Sinews. You get to add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons by all infantry models. It's super big, especially on things like Possessed. That takes them up to the strength 6, which is a really big deal. You can get up to strength 5 on all of your Legionnaires' chain swords. This is also very useful. And then lastly will be the Ophthalmic Enhancement, which is going to be improve the ballistic skill characteristic of ranged weapons by 1. Also, generally pretty darn useful. That makes Havocs pretty freaking cool. Remember, you're still going to get the army roll, which is which is the Dark Pact. So you can always Dark Pact for either sustained or lethals, which makes all of these very, very interesting. If it's just pretty solid. Now, let's look at these enhancements. Some of these enhancements are okay. Some of these enhancements are kind of like but that's all right because we have strats and we have a badass army roll. So, surgical precision for 10 points. Heretic Astartes model, excluding damned models. So you can't put this on like a Dark Commune. Bearers melee weapons have the precision ability. Okay, cool. Sure. Sometimes I'd probably rather just spend 1 CP for precision if I ever need it, but I guess if you have 10 points left over, get precision, why not? Then we have the Living Carapace for 15 points. Now this can only go on a Chaos Lord. You're going to add 1 to the wounds characteristic, and you're going to give them a Feel No Pain of 5+. It can be useful. I don't particularly think that it's anything earth-shaking or something that I would plan on having, but, having a Chaos Lord with a 5 Feel No Pain, not bad. Then we have the Helm of All-Seeing. This one rocks. So on any Heretic Astartes infantry that is not damned, really important, you get a 6-inch deep strike denial bubble. That's awesome. That could actually be super, super important for stopping, say, rapid ingresses to Overwatch. That could be really, really big, especially when you're like diving into your opponent's lines. You can use that to seriously screen some distance for your opponent's deep strike abilities, which on point. I like this one a lot. That is 25 points, but it's good. And then lastly, we've got the Prime Test Subject. This one is also very good. You're pretty much always going to want to put this on a Chaos Lord, who's probably leading Chosen. All right, Heretic Astartes infantry model. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. And each time you make a melee attack, you get to reroll the hit roll. So you're going to take this dude. He's going to get +1 damage. So that means his Thunder Hammer or his Demon Hammer on the go turn is going to be damage 4 with dev wounds. Rerolling hit rolls, fishing for sustain. This is actually pretty dang sick. If he happens to be attached to Legionnaires, and there's a good reason why you would attach him to Legionnaires, he's also going to be able to re-roll wound rolls, fishing for those flat dev 4 damage attacks. That's very powerful. Now let's go through these strats, and you'll realize why he might go with Legionnaires and not just Chosen. First strat, Monstrous Visages. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 more attacking unit's attacks until the end of the phase. Each time a attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. On demand, -1 to be hit, shooting or fight phase, rocks. We love it. It's good. It's good. For 1 CP, just -1 to be hit. Solid strat. Then number 2, we're looking at delayed mutations. This is one of the rare 2 CP stratagems. Your command phase. 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit, that's not a damned unit. You're going to suffer D3 mortal wounds. However, after you suffer those D3 mortal wounds, you get to select 1 augmentation in addition to the augmentations that you already have. So let's say you randomize augmentations and you get +1 strength and +1 toughness. Well, now you can be like, also, you know what? I really want +1 attack as well. Oof, for that particular unit. This can be brutal and it can be exceptionally powerful in a lot of different scenarios. 2 CP seems a little bit steep, but you know what, man? This detachment's got some nice things. I'm really excited about it. Let's talk about Masters Are Watching. When the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, roll a d6, subtracting 1 if it's damned, and it's a 4-up fight and death. Everyone likes 4-up fight and deaths. It's always useful. Then we have Diabolic Regeneration, which is in your command phase. 1 Heretic Astartes unit, guess what? Not including damned units. You just get to restore 1 destroyed model, not character models. It just 1 destroyed model comes back. Regens are so powerful in this game. And if it's a battle line unit, you get D3 destroyed models back, which is amazing for Legionnaires. And it's amazing for a couple of your other options, because if I'm not mistaken, let me just check. Yeah, battle line includes your Legionnaires, your Khorne Berserkers, your Plague Marines, and your Rubrics. So if you're running Plague Marines with an additional toughness, suddenly they go up to T6. Yeah, your Rubrics can get benefits. Your Khorne Berserkers can get just an insane amount of attacks. Man, there's a lot of ways that you can use this, and then just be regenerating models. Legionnaires, D3 models for this one strat. It's just, man, it's bonkers, actually. There's a lot of really good play here. Then we have Specimens for the Spider. Specimens for the Spider is another 2 CP strat, which is pretty odd to see 2 CP strats in the same detachment. But let's read what it does. Fight phase. 1 Heretic Astartes infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to fight. Now, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, that is any unit that has a character in it, you can reroll the wound roll. Boom. On demand, reroll wound rolls. There are tons of character units in this game. That's very, very powerful. Now, after your unit has fought, if 1 or more enemy character models were destroyed as a result of those attacks, then you get to select 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of your unit, and they must take a battleshock test. Now, if it was a warlord that happened to be destroyed, every enemy unit within 6 inches must take a battleshock test. So there are scenarios where that battleshock test can come in handy, but basically, on-demand reroll wound rolls, especially when you've got things like, I don't know, a Chaos Lord who has a flat 4 damage dev wound Thunderhammer. This can get disgusting. And then the last stratagem will be auto stimulants, which, oh, by the way, you know what? Let's just give you advance and charge. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now you can get your Legionnaires advance and charging. And this is used in the charge phase, which is really important because you don't have to spend it in the movement phase. So you can actually see what happens on the board and you use it in the charge phase, which is a much more powerful way of getting an advance and charge strat than if you have to use it in the movement phase. So I love it. This detachment's awesome. There's a lot of great ways to run it. I think we're pretty dang excited about it, to be honest with you. If you want to build for one specific, let's say we only want shooting, well then, okay, cool. You're going to try to make sure, you might actually choose just to select the Ballista skill as the upgrade for everything. Otherwise, if you want to build more of a flexible list that can go any way, you're obviously always going to have, you're probably always going to have Fabulous Bile in here. you roll the dice and see what you can get. It's great if you get +1 skill. It's great if you get +1 on skill. It's great if you get +1 strength, toughness, whatever. +2 to movement is no slouch either, guys. So all these upgrades are really sick, and they're all going to stack super, super well with your Heretic Astartes infantry that are not damned units. I read this the first time, and I was like, oh, ACDC would be sick in this. And then, like, Chateau in my Discord flicked me in the nose. Was like, bro, don't be stupid. You can't use this on ACDC. Read. I was like, oh, okay, fine. I'll read it. But yeah, so you can't use it on damned units, but that's totally fine because all of these buffs are sick, and this detachment is awesome. I'm not sold this will be the best way to run CSM, but it's definitely competitive, and it's definitely good. So if you're a CSM player, get hyped, because this thing freaking is sick. And with that, guys, I'm going to be back. I got other videos to run today. I already posted one up, which has all the consolidated Space Marine changes in one place for you, just in case you don't want to watch an hour-long video to try to tease through all the changes. So it's just like a quick little, like, 8 to 10-minute video that tells you all the changes at once. And I'm pumped about this detachment, but I'm pumped about some other stuff that I got coming up. Tomorrow, we have the Eldar, which hurts my feelings because I think it's guaranteed to be awful because it's Eldar, and GW can't balance Eldar. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and peace out of here, and I hope you guys have yourselves a lovely freaking day. Happy crumping. Bye-bye.